What's up everybody, Caesar Madrazo here, and we are back with more Doki Doki Blue Skies, and today's episode is featuring a hazelnut latte from the Venti. Now I don't know if the Venti exists in America or anywhere in the West, but it has very easily become my favorite coffee shop here in Korea, because they sell pretty much everything that you could find at Starbucks, but they sell it for like a third of the price. Which, it's a common joke that Starbucks is overpriced. So, the fact that the Venti has, first of all, everything they serve is this size. They don't have any small sizes. Like, everything is like the maximum size that you would find at Starbucks. And as I said, it's like a third of the price. So it's really freaking awesome. Now, you might ask, why the hell am I telling you this? Because the last time that I made a video, I talked about how I was eating KFC, and people seemed to get a kick out of that. So, I'm telling you what I'm drinking this time. Anyway, enough about that. Let's just go ahead and dive right into the video, shall we? It's the day of the festival. The preparations for the event should be nearly complete, given all the work everyone's put in over the weekend. Funnily enough, I probably feel the same way as Natsuki about the event. I'm more excited for it to be over, so I can spend time with Sayori at the festival. But knowing Monika, I'm sure the event will be great too. It's been a while though. Where's Sayori? We're meant to walk together, but she's late again. I don't want to leave her behind, but if she takes much longer, I'm going to be late for school. More time passes. There's going to be a moment of decision soon if she doesn't arrive. Just as I'm getting ready to leave, I finally spot her slowly making her way down the street. She's carrying a large sack in her hands, and I'm surprised she isn't running over to me. Isn't she aware of how late she is? Sayori, where have you been? We could have been late for school. I know, sorry. I, overslept again? Or couldn't decide what to have for breakfast again? She immediately pouts. You're such a meanie sometimes. Ha, you know my teasing is all in good fun. She mumbles something under her breath. Of course. By the way, I also double-checked the little bags. They're all in here. She gestures to the large sack, a bright smile evident on her face. Good stuff, Sayori. People are gonna love them. Let me move something over here. Alright. That was a really good idea. Candy, bookmarks, and literature quotes. Perfect things to give out from our event. Uh-huh. Something for everyone. Although, I'm kind of nervous for the festival. Honestly, I don't blame you for that. It's kind of nerve-wracking, isn't it? I mean, I know how much it means to Monika, but at the same time, I didn't really realize how intimidating reciting poetry to a bunch of strangers can be. Yeah, I was all for it back in the club room, but now that the actual day is here, she looks a little nervous. I reach over and give her a squeeze on the shoulder. We'll be fine, don't worry. I know how much you like poetry, plus your poems are great. I just hope my own performance is up to standard. Oh, don't be silly, Caesar. They'll love your poem, I just know it. I chuckle, admiring the definitive optimism that really makes Sayori, well, Sayori. I guess we'll find out. By the way, are you doing anything after the festival? Anything fun? Nope, I haven't really planned that far ahead. I'm not great at doing that anyway. I'm kind of hoping we finish early so we can have the rest of the day off, to be honest. So what you're really saying is you just want to go home and sleep, right? Ooh, look at how many students are there. How many clubs are having their own little event today. What a tactical change in topic that was. This expression they gave Sayori, it doesn't really imply that she was purposely trying to change the topic. Our school is in sight and there's a lot of students milling around. It's a little strange to think that there's so many fellow students around, yet I've still been feeling so lonely. Or at least before joining the literature club. Times like these make me grateful that Sayori told me about the club in the first place. I don't know, probably quite a few. By the way, Sayori, what's up, Caesar? I just wanted to say, well, no matter how the festival goes, I'm really grateful you told me about your club and let me join. I've had a lot of fun so far. I scratch the back of my head nervously as Sayori looks curiously at me. I've never been good at expressing myself, and it probably shows. I guess what I'm trying to say is, thank you. It's been so fun being able to spend time with you again. It really takes me back. You don't have to thank me for anything, silly. I have enjoyed it too. After all, it would be lovely if things could go back to how they used to. How they used to? What do you mean? Oh, nothing. Strange choice of words. What could she mean by this? It sounds to me like she just wants to be friends again. As we enter the courtyard and make our way to the meeting room, she breaks the silence by giggling. Something funny? I just thought of one way to steal one of Natsuki's cupcakes without her realizing. Are you sure that's a good idea? Natsuki might be little, but you know better than I do that she can be really fiery. Oh, don't worry about her. She might seem a bit mean on the outside, but she's harmless. Don't let her fool you. Well, I'd rather her than me. Caesar, Sayori, it's good to see you guys. Do you want to come in and give me a hand? Monika is placing little booklets on each of the desks of the classroom. They must be the ones she prepared that has all the poems we're performing. In the end, I found a random poem online, but I thought Monika would like and submitted it, so that's the one I'll be performing. Hey, do you guys want to check out the pamphlets? They came out really nice. Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, they really did. Mm-hmm, they look really pretty. Something like this will definitely help people take the club more seriously. Yeah, I thought so too. I flipped through the pages. Each member's poem is neatly printed on its own page, giving it an almost professional feel. I recognized the girls' poems from the ones they performed during our practice. Just then, Natsuki bursts into the room carrying a box that positively towers over her. Yuri trails in behind her, carrying a rolled-up banner and a large duffel bag. Alright, it's festival time. Wow, you guys got here before me? I thought it was pretty early. Nice reference to the original, Act 2 at least. I'm sorry for being the last one here. I'm glad that some preparation is already underway, though. It should take less time to set everything up this way. Yeah, let's work hard together, everyone. Natsuki unpacks her box to reveal 4 trays of cupcakes stacked carefully on top of each other. Caesar! I jump at the sudden outburst. Yes? Help me lay out these cupcakes. Then, if you wouldn't mind, Sayori, can you help me with these? Yuri gestures at her bag, to which Sayori nods cheerfully. I help Natsuki with her cupcakes while Yuri and Sayori start putting up decorations. Meanwhile, Monika continues putting down pamphlets. It isn't long before Natsuki has carefully arranged her cupcakes in a neat formation. Each cupcake is topped with white icing and some kanji written in a variety of different colored frostings. Wow, these look really good. Great idea to make them literature club themed as well, Natsuki. Yeah, it was a good idea, huh? I wrote down words that specifically have to do with poetry in our poems, too. She picked a cupcake to show me. See? This one says create. Isn't that the kanji for use? Ah? Natsuki furiously checks over the rest of her cupcakes to look for more miswritten characters, I glance over at Sayori and Yuri. They've put up a banner with an inspirational quote written in a colorful gradient of colors of the colors of the sky. A good writer possesses not only his own spirit, but also the spirit of his friends. Ah, that's a quote by the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He's had some very interesting thoughts, although there are some that I don't quite agree with. I think I've heard of him. As usual, Yuri outclasses me with her intellect. I've actually been looking a little bit more into Nietzsche than usual lately, because there was one quote that I thought was pretty relevant in what's going on in 2020. We all know that 2020 has been kind of a weird and stressful year. And one quote that stuck out of Nietzsche's that I thought was pretty prominent in how some people are reacting was, inside every real man is a boy who just wants to play. Basically the idea that even after you become an adult, that desire, that childlike desire to just have some fun doesn't really go away. And that even when times are looking a little down, and even when you're having to work really hard or you're going through a lot of stress, that it can be really good for you to find opportunities to just, enjoy yourself in some way. And that's just a quote that for the past, I would say maybe 2 or 3 weeks has been really ringing in my head, because I thought that it's pretty prominent, and I think that it's pretty true. It seems that they've also hung up a curtain of origami paper tied to ribbons in the doorway. Upon closer inspection, each paper has a different kanji character written on it. Hey, it looks like you did something similar to Natsuki with your kanji curtain. Is that so? I'll have to take a look at what she's done after I finish setting up. She gestures to a few candles and a wooden cylinder-shaped object. Yuri said that that's an essential oils diffuser. Oh, yes, it's for aromatherapy, one of my favorite contributors to a positive atmosphere. Huh, I'm excited to see how it works later. Excuse me, folks. Although it looks like the preparations are almost done now. I feel like there's something missing, though. Suddenly, I notice a large bag sitting forlornly by itself to the side. Yeah, the goodie bags. Sayori, do you mind handing me that sack you've got? I'll help you distribute all the stuff inside. Okay, here you go. Peering inside, I can see, I catch sight of quite a few small, colorful bags neatly tied shut with ribbons. Well, I mean, we already know what they look like. You helped Sayori make them. Do you really need to describe it? Just as I remember, her handiwork from yesterday really shows. I pull one out. Yuri and Monika notice the little bags, looking on with interest. Ah, so this is what you and Caesar have been working on over the weekend, Sayori. I love how these look. You both did a fantastic job. It's mostly Sayori. I couldn't do the ribbon part if my life depended on it. I'm sure the contents are just as impressive as the exterior. What sorts of things did you choose for the quotes? We had a lot of fun with that. She delicately opens one of the bags, finishing out a quote. It's perfectly okay to write garbage, as long as you edit it brilliantly. Wait, I didn't put this one in. You know, as somebody who has been making a mod series for over a year now, I can say that this is definitely true. I took a little bit of inspiration from actually a quote from the original DDLC many times when I was working on meta-series episodes. How, you know, just get something out onto the page and don't worry about how good or bad it is. And then later on, when your mind is a little bit fresher, just come back and, you know, tidy it up and make it better. And this is, I mean, this is basically the same thing. Just don't be afraid to write, because you can always go back and fix it. Oh yeah, that one was mine. I thought it was kind of funny. Monika giggles, whereas Yuri and Sayori look like they're trying to figure out what the punchline is. Well, 1 out of 3 isn't so bad. How about this one? I hastily open another bag, picking out the quote. And actually, I know I'm sort of lingering on a point, but actually Joe Rogan on his podcast one time, actually Joe Rogan he had another person that I'm a fan of, Jocko Willink. If you guys have been following the meta series for a while, then you might have seen that I've included some things that Jocko Willink has said a little bit in some meta series bonus episodes here and there. He had Jocko on a show, and Rogan said at one point that even as a writer, he said, quote, "You might have a day where you write nothing but dog shit. So what? Show back up tomorrow, and from all of that dog shit, you might see a little flower spring out." So that's, again, another quote that's sort of relevant to what that last quote was, and what Monika's quote about just writing something down and fixing it up later. You know, just get something out there and fix it up later. Because I think it's actually easier to critique something that's already written than it is to critique, you know, on the spot as you're writing something. So if you write garbage, then later on you can go back and look at it and say, yeah, this is garbage. It would be better if I said this, 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 and this instead. And then you fix it. And then if you need to, you can come back a little bit later and say, well, you know, it's better, but, you know, maybe if I say this, it would probably be a little bit better too. Because from personal experience, it is much easier to critique something already written than it is to just, like, create, you know, creative gold on the spot. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets fixated on a specific point. Just force yourself to get something out on the paper and tidy it up later. Speak of the freaking devil. That's the quote from the original. I like that one a lot, Caesar. After all, it's pretty much true. If you never start, you can't make any progress. Keeping your pen in the same spot would just result in a big puddle of ink. We couldn't find out who said that, which is a shame. Ooh, have you guys tried the candy? Don't you think we should save those for the people we made the bags for, Sayori? Oh yeah. By the way, that's odd face choice for when Sayori is supposed to be laughing. Natsuki's irritated voice rings over from across the classroom. Hey, if you guys are finished over there, can you actually sort Sayori's stuff out? You know, we do have a festival to prepare for. She huffs, and the rest of the girls share a guilty grin. Natsuki's right. I suppose Natsuki raises a valid point. Yeah, let's get it together then. We each delve into the sack and scoop up the little bags, going around the classroom and setting them down on each desk. We printed out a few spare quotes to put around the classroom, and it's not long before a few desks bear the wise words of writers and poets alike. Sayori wanders over to the door and sticks one of the quotes there. I'm impressed by her thinking. Everyone will see that quote. Will see the quote that way. It doesn't take long to distribute all of the little bags around the room. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot Sayori trying to sneakily open a bag and pop a candy into her mouth. Naturally, she drops the chocolate. Some things never change. Alright. Oh, damn. Classroom's all dark? Was there always a door at the... yeah, I guess there was. Yeah, there was. I was thinking, was there always a door at the back of the classroom? But yeah, there was. By the time we finish, it looks like everyone else is too. I feel like this might be a little too dark. I feel like maybe they should have left the windows open just a little bit. The classroom is now darkened and lit up by the ambient lighting of the candles. Yeah, a little too dark, probably. This will give people the impression that, you know, this is supposed to be like a Halloween club or something. A delicate floral scent wafts through the air, courtesy of Yuri's essential oils. Sayori and I head towards the other three girls who are huddled near the front of the classroom, murmuring to each other. Is it about time to start yet? Almost. We wrote that we were going to start at 10 a.m. on our posters, and that's in 10 minutes. So, I do like the dimming effects that they used here. I don't know if maybe they used a darkening screen and put it at a higher layer than all of the character sprites, or maybe this is just a darkened version of Monika's character. But either way, that's pretty cool. I've been trying to find a way to where I can darken the characters for nighttime scenes without having to use an entirely new set of sprites where each individual sprite is darkened. I think that a few other people who make DDLC mods have also been trying to figure out how to do that, and there hasn't been like a pristine way to do it yet. But if this is a darkening layer and not just a new set of sprites, then it's pretty good. Are people actually going to show up for this? Don't be so negative. Some people have shown up already, and I'm sure more will file in soon. You guys don't have to be worrying so much about it. I've got full faith in you. I've seen all your poems. It's been amazing watching each and every one of you find and nurture your unique writing styles. She smiles encouragingly at each of us. To her credit, her words are helpful, even though I haven't been part of this club for as long as the other three. Even Caesar? Natsuki! It was just a joke. Jeez, thought some humor would lighten the mood. Ha, sorry. Just trying to make sure everyone's in the best frame of mind before we start. It's okay, Monika. We all understand and appreciate that. Yeah, we know how much this club means to you. I want it to be a success just as much as you do. Couldn't have put it better myself. Even though I've only been in the club a few days, I've felt really at home. Truth be told, I used to be kinda lonely. Knowing that I'm included in something with people like you guys always makes me feel better. Apart from Sayori on Sunday, I haven't told anyone about how lonely I've been feeling. I'm a little nervous about how the others will react. Well, I mean, each of them have problems that are either on par or exceed that of loneliness, so I don't think they would be ones to judge. They all turn to me, varying degrees of emotion on their faces, so I'm gonna guess Natsuki is going to sort of turn away like, whatever, who cares. Monika is going to be sympathetic, Yuri is going to be empathetic, and Sayori is going to be happy that we told everybody. Natsuki impassively looks to the side while Yuri gives me an expression of concern. Sayori looks a little sad, remembering our conversation about this. Yeah, Sayori definitely looks a little sad right now. It's okay, Caesar, we can change that, remember? Like I said, I'm so happy you feel welcome here. It's exactly what we wanted. I agree, no one should feel alone. It's quite a difficult thing to experience. I feel a warm flush of gratitude in their words. Thanks, guys. That means a lot. Also, Monika, I told Sayori this earlier, and I figured you might appreciate hearing this. Well, no matter how the festival goes, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. Thanks to you guys, that lonely feeling has disappeared. You've all been so welcoming and accepting, and believe me, I'm really appreciative of that. So even if this event doesn't go quite as planned, just know that I really love it here, and I'm so glad Sayori told me about the club. If others don't like what we have, well, it's their loss, right? The girls nod in agreement, smiling at me. I had no idea my words would have such an impact, but I'm glad they did in the end. It feels so rewarding to be able to give back to the club for a change. Monika turns to me, eyes shining with appreciation. Thank you, Caesar, you're right. Hearing those words from a newcomer really makes me feel like I've succeeded in my goals as president. After all, I wanted to create a place where people can feel comfortable and share literature, and what you've just said makes me feel it was all worth it. She turns to face the others. See, guys? If we could show Caesar how amazing this club is, who's to say we can't show other students the same thing? Don't see them as strangers, see them as potential club members. She's definitely got an inspiring way with words. Yeah, good thinking, Monika. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, but if they say anything bad about my cupcakes, I'm gonna kill them. Yuri giggles softly. I won't lie to you, I'm still quite nervous. But hearing what you've said, Caesar, I realized there might be other lonely people out there. This club would be the perfect place for them. Yeah, we might even find more manga enthusiasts. That's the spirit. Now let's go and show the rest of the school just what the literature club is made of. As if on cue, a few people wander into the room, curiously looking around the room. Monika confidently walks over and greets them, and so it begins. Monika and Sayori have greeted the newcomers and settled them in desks throughout the classroom. Some people are already helping themselves to the cupcakes, and I notice Natsuki is keeping an eye on them. Meanwhile, Yuri is nervously looking through a pamphlet. I can see her soundlessly mouthing the words to her poem. Now that I think about it, I should be getting some extra practice in as well. Can you read when the room is this dark? That's impressive. Before I can do so, though, Monika heads back towards us with Sayori in tow. Showtime, everyone! Let's do this, guys! Time to get this over with. I can do this. We group up and stand together at the front of the classroom. Monika steps up to the podium and clears her throat, drawing the room's attention to her. Okay, everyone, welcome to the Literature Club's poetry performance. My name is Monika, as some of you may know. Some girls sitting near the front of the classroom wave at her. And I'm the president of the club. Accompanying me is the vice president, Sayori. Hi, guys! And the rest of our club members, Yuri, Natsuki, and last but certainly not least, Caesar. We all wave back at the students with varying degrees of enthusiasm. I hope that you'll all enjoy our poetry, and that we'll be able to help contribute to a memorable festival. Literature is amazing in its ability to connect us to the human condition, and we really hope that this event will help encourage others to start participating in it as well. Our club will gladly welcome any new members, from those who love words and writing as well, to anyone who's simply just curious and wants to learn more. After the scheduled performances, we'll be opening up the stage for anyone else who wants to perform, so don't be shy. And now, without further ado, I'll be starting with the poem, The Way We Fly. Or The Way They Fly. Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, and I head off to settle down in the frontmost desks, saving the seat at the end for Monika. She stands there, alone yet still radiating confidence. After flashing a smile and a wink at us, she begins. Each word is crystal clear and exudes emotion. Somehow, her recitation is even better than it was only a few days ago. She must have practiced hard to try and achieve perfection. The classroom is silent at first, drinking in her words. After a few moments, however, some whispers start up in the back of the classroom. I guess that's inevitable, but it still doesn't make it any less annoying. I exchange a look with Natsuki, who rolls her eyes at the disruptions. Sayori pats my hand and gives me an encouraging smile. She's comforting as always. As Monika's poem progresses, more and more people wander in. Normally this would be a good thing, but they're making a lot of noise. Thankfully, they simmer down once they realize Monika's speaking, but the damage has already been done. Well, you know, if you're this sensitive to noise and interruptions, then you probably shouldn't be a performer or any kind of speaker in general, because inevitably that is going to happen. And this is coming from a guy who teaches English for a living, so I mean, I know what I'm talking about. After, let's see, this is my 3rd year in Korea, so in the middle of my 5th year as a professional teacher, 6th year if you count the year that I substitute teach, that was substitute teaching in between America and Korea. People talking and whispering underneath you, it's gonna happen. And if you try to address it literally every time it happens, then you're never gonna be able to say what it is that you want to say. So you just gotta kind of roll with it. Now, if it gets, to the point where the entire speech is being disrupted, then of course you address it. But if it's 1 or 2 people that are whispering, I mean, sometimes you can't help that, especially when you've only got the crowd for a few minutes. She reaches the end of her poem, the last few words resonating in the classroom. A round of applause fills the room and Monika beams at everyone, patiently waiting for them to finish. Thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my poem and that it gave you a flavor of what this club is like. For the newcomers, welcome. We're just in the midst of showing you all of our poems. For the benefit of those who have just joined, she quickly reintroduces anyone. Anyway, up next is Natsuki. Take it away. Natsuki stumbles silently as she makes her way to the front of the class. I guess the nerves are really getting to her. It doesn't help that someone sniggers, causing her to turn and glare at them. Sayori seems to notice too, as she hastens to shoot Natsuki a reassuring smile. Natsuki stands at the front of the classroom with her poem in hand, slight traces of irritation still visible on her face. Anyway, so my poem's called Jump. She takes a deep breath and begins her recital. Just as I was hoping, she's able to inject her trademark bouncy style into the performance, bringing the words to life. She doesn't quite radiate the confidence Monika did, but her unique style shines through, giving the poem a flow of rhythm. While simple, it's effective. My heart sinks as I start picking up on the newcomers having their own conversation in the back of the room. I'm hit with a surge of anger. How can they be so inconsiderate? I mean, that's people. Unless you've got a very small crowd, which it sounds like you've got at least 20 people in here, which is not that small of a crowd. I mean, it's gonna happen. If they're talking in, full talking voices while Natsuki's performing, that would be pretty rude, and that's when you should stop and say something. But if they're just whispering, I mean, inevitably that's going to happen even a little bit. Like even, at music performances, in, classical music performances where people are supposed to be quiet throughout the whole time, you're going to get whisperers. You're going to get people talking on their phone sometimes, which usually if somebody's talking on their phone, somebody else in the audience will tap their shoulder and be like, hey, can you not? But for whisperers, I mean, yeah. Unless it's just getting so noisy that nobody else can hear the performance, I mean, you just gotta kinda tolerate it. It's clear that they aren't paying any attention, and from the pause and change in Natsuki's tone, she's clearly picked up on it as well. Why can't they just save their stupid, selfish conversations for after our performances? Her poem comes to an end, but unlike with Monika's, there's a slight awkward moment of silence. Once again, there's a round of applause, but it's clear the audience's engagement isn't quite as strong. Great performance, Natsuki. I really like the rhythm of that poem. Natsuki forces a smile and makes her way to her seat. It's clear that she's upset. Anyway, our Vice President Sayori is next to perform. Hi, everyone. I hope you like my poem. She cheerfully skips up to the front, poem in hand. As she turns to face us, she looks a little nervous, fidgeting slightly. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. It's okay, Sayori. Just remember what we've practiced. Just remember what we've practiced. I've got full faith in you. Yeah, you got this. This one's called My Meadow. She begins her poem. Her soft voice guides us through the recital, and there's a remarkable contrast between her cheerful inflection and the more bittersweet nature of the words. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice people casually... Okay, so there's a bit of a change in the music. The music is getting slower, and there's more dissonant intervals being used. Like, there's a few tritones in there, which... Usually if there's a tritone happening in the music, that means that the tone is shifting. Or the tone is supposed to be more on the negative and tense side. Alright, so this is a really subtle change, but man is it good. And the reason I'm analyzing it this much is that my major in music when I was in college has sort of programmed me to look at music in this way, but wow! What a nice touch. Well done, whoever added that to the mod. That is really good. I noticed people casually flicking cupcake wrappers on the floor, along with candy wrappers lying on the tables. Well, that's also just gonna happen, unfortunately. People are gonna leave garbage if you give them something to... Worse still, the talking is getting louder and more noticeable. Well, okay, yeah, if it's getting louder, then that's when you should probably stop and address it. Monika looks around at the perpetrators frowning at them. One of the students lets out a yawn, making absolutely no effort to hide it. So at this point, Sayori should probably pick up on the vibe and should stop reading. And then Monika, as the president, should stand up and address the crowd. And, be respectful, but also perhaps, with just a hint of, sternness and authoritativeness. Just tell the crowd, hey, can you please respect the performers? Anyway, another student picks up one of the quotes and nudges their friends. They both frown and laugh at the message, and I get the horrible feeling it's more the mocking kind of laugh. At this point, I'm seeing red. If we weren't in school, I would have punched these inconsiderate pricks by now. I wouldn't go that far. As I said, just stand up and address it. Stand up and, ask politely, but maybe with a little bit of sternness in your voice for everybody to respect the performers. No one should be this rude to Sayori. She's probably the sweetest person I've ever met. Despite the now obvious disruptions, she's still trying her best and is making a real effort to continue. To her credit, her performance is still commendable. She manages to work the contrast of her enunciation against the words in her favor. It adds an interesting depth to the poem. I'd love to see more of this side of her. She brings her performance to a close, hands shaking slightly. Lovely poem, Sayori. You really brought that one to life. Okay, so now that Sayori isn't even reading anymore, this would be the perfect time to address what's going on. But of course, these are students in high school, so they probably haven't had that many instances where they've had to make the call as to when would be the appropriate time to address people that are not being very considerate during a performance. Thank you. Something's off with her voice, and now it's like how she was on Friday. Monika stands up, turning to address everyone in the room. Just a polite reminder that it would be much appreciated if everyone could give our poets some respect while they're performing. Okay, so yeah, good call, Monika. That's what you should do. And then if the interruptions continue from that point, then whoever is causing the interruptions should be asked to leave, would be the next step. Monika looks stern while Natsuki looks positively furious. Thank you. Now the stage is all yours, Yuri. Also, one thing that I would do if I was in Monika's position there is, as I was addressing the crowd and giving the reminder to respect the people performing, I would look around and see everybody's reaction to that reminder. And those who respected it, then they're good. If anybody, has a mocking reaction to that reminder, then those would be the people that you either ask to leave in that moment, or you tell them that if they continue, then they will be asked to leave. And then whichever route you go with, if you give them a warning that they'll be asked to leave if they continue, then if they do continue, you stay true to your word on that. Because if you give them a warning and then you don't follow through with that warning, then it can, it will make them think that you're weak and that they can act up as much as they want to, and you're not going to do anything about it. Anyway, continuing on. Yuri is looking terrified at this point. Sayori gives her a reassuring squeeze, and I lean over, whispering in her ear, "You've got this, Yuri. Just pretend like it's only me, Natsuki, Sayori, and Monika." I can't do this, Caesar. Yes, you can. I believe in you. I've seen how passionate you can become when you talk about Portrait of Markov. I loved that. I love seeing that side of you. Besides, like you said, this club could be the perfect place for any of these people. We just don't know it yet. Maybe not any of them. If people are already mocking the club atmosphere, then it's clear that they don't have any actual respect for the club itself. And so that would be a really hard sell. She swallows nervously, nodding at my words. Okay, thank you. She rises to her feet, poem clasped firmly to her chest, and avoiding eye contact with everyone as she walks up. Her eyes flick up to glance at the classroom when she gets on stage, although she quickly ducks her head back down to look at her poem on the podium. This poem is called After Image of a Crimson Eye. Her voice quivers as she starts, but unlike her recitation a few days ago, the meek and trembling version of Yuri remains well into the poem. She determinedly forges ahead, but I can tell she's not enjoying it in the slightest. The rest of the classroom, momentarily subdued by Monika's words, soon begins to grow louder again. Okay, so yeah, if they're growing louder again, this is when you readdress the crowd. And if it's the entire crowd that is being disruptive, then you stop the performance. Or, well, actually, no, you're probably not gonna, like, it's very rare that literally everybody in the crowd would be acting up, so, what I would do here is I would stop the performance, and I would, with a little bit more sternness in my voice, say, look, if you do not have any legitimate interest to join this club, then please get out of here, because this performance is for people who are interested in joining the club. So if that's not you, then leave now. And if at that point people still continued on and kept being disruptive, then that's when you would go get somebody that's of a higher authority than you. Like, you should probably go get a teacher or an administrative member to handle the situation from there. The rest of the classroom, momentarily subdued by Monika's words, soon begins to grow louder again. After a few lines of her poem, they're even more unruly than before. The crinkling of rappers fills the air, and at a few points, Yuri is almost drowned out by others' voices. Yeah, so this is beyond the point where you should be stopping the performance. I catch a few people getting up and leaving the classroom, and by the slight hitch in her voice, it seems Yuri's seen them as well. Well, good riddance. If they're not interested, then let them leave. Her eyes stay glued to her poem now, and it looks like she's trying her hardest to ignore everyone. One boy quietly wolf whistles at Yuri, causing her to jump and lower her head even more. Yeah, this is way, way beyond when you should be stopping the performance and doing something about it. She's practically shaking like a leaf. Well, I mean, don't let her keep torturing herself. Like, stop the performance. This is absolutely disgusting behavior, and I open my mouth to say something. Suddenly, Natsuki stands up, a loud scraping noise from her pushing away from the desk, drawing the attention of the students. Can you all just shut up? I'm really freaking sick of this. How can you guys be so rude? We're trying our best to show you something amazing here, and you're just going to stomp all over our hard work like that? Unbelievable. I can't even understand how people can be this arrogant, and this is just plain terrible. I didn't want to interrupt you, Yuri, but I can't stand it anymore. You idiots might as well leave if you weren't even going to pretend to pay attention. Well, Natsuki called it right there. She probably could have handled that a little bit better, but what she said is right. Like, yeah, if you're not interested, then please leave, because this isn't for you if you're not interested. There's complete silence for a beat. Only came for the food anyway. Let's go, guys. Once this boy speaks up and begins to lead his friends away, one by one, more students start to follow them out the door. Well, let him go! I throw a panicked look over to Monika, who's holding a strange, stiff expression on her face. Looks like she's struggling to stay calm for everyone. After a few moments, there's barely anyone left. Yuri, meanwhile, quietly begins speaking again, but her voice is barely audible. So no, you don't have Yuri begin again right away. You know, once the hecklers have left, then what should be happening is Monika should be standing up and saying, "I'm really sorry for that interruption, anyone. I hope that their behavior doesn't ruin the performance for you. So let's just let's just recompose, and let's start again. Yuri, if you want, you can start from the top of your poem again. If you have Yuri just continue and act like, you know, this issue didn't just happen, then it comes across as really clumsy, and it makes the entire show seem like it's not very well organized and that it's not prepared to handle situations like this. And that's not going to sit well with anybody else who's watching the performance. It's going to seem like this club just doesn't have a lot of confidence in itself. There's just a stifling silence accompanying her words. When she finishes, a weak smattering of applause comes from the few who are left. She unsteadily steps down from the stage, a blank look on her face. She won't look at any of us either. I'm worried about her. Okay. Monika's voice cracks as she speaks up. She's still trying her best to see us through this. I don't think any of us could have predicted that it would turn out this way. Thank you, Yuri. You did wonderfully. I'm sincerely sorry for all the disruptions and sheer arrogance you had to endure. Those kinds of people really are the worst. Well, not a good way to put it, Monika. Again, you're kind of coming across as, you know, someone who is not able to handle stressful situations very well, which as the president, you don't want to give that vibe to anybody else who could potentially be joining the club. To those who are left, I want to thank you for staying and apologize as well. This is definitely not a normal occurrence for the Literature Club, I assure you. Well, let's finish this off with Caesar then. With a heavy heart, I slowly get up and walk onto the stage. When I get to the podium, I'm appalled by the sight of the classroom. Candy and cupcake wrappers are strewn across the floor, and quote cards lay tossed out, with many of the cards now featuring shoe prints all over the words. I mean, when you have that many things that you're giving to people, you're gonna get some trash. The remnants of goodie bags are left ripped apart on desks. You know, I keep saying this like, oh, you know, that's just classic. I think when I was their age, I probably would have been just as appalled by a scene like this, and honestly, I probably would have handled it very similarly to them. But since I work in a profession where I deal with groups of people all day, groups of children all day, and so I'm kind of used to that kind of atmosphere and that kind of behavior. And I guess at this point, I'm like a veteran in handling that kind of behavior. It's for me, it's just like, you know, typical day. But I'm judging their reaction a little bit. I don't want to say I'm judging it harshly, but I want to make it clear I'm not blaming them for reacting the way they are, because as I said, they're still high school students themselves, so they probably wouldn't be the best at handling a situation like this. Even the kanji curtain looks tangled up and messy. The only students left are the ones who waved to Monika at the beginning, so it's Monika's friends. This is what Yuri had to see when reciting her poem. No wonder she didn't want to look up and face these people. Can I really do this now? How are the others able to finish their poems? I look at the clock. Only 10:20. Has it really only been 20 minutes? Taking a shaky breath, I begin to speak. Hi everyone. I'd like to take a second to apologize as well, both to those checking out the club today and to those who are already in it. But despite everything that's happened, I can say that I'm glad I joined since I got to meet so many amazing people. I believe that you guys will love it as much as I did too. Anyhow, I hope that you'll all enjoy Acquainted with the Night. So, since Caesar is a standard member of the club, you know, Monika was the one who addressed the problem. So, what Caesar, probably the best thing for Caesar to do would probably be to try to lighten the mood a little bit, because at this point the atmosphere in the room is very tense and very heavy. So to sort of bring everything back around to, hey, you know, we're here to have fun, we're here to enjoy ourselves, so, you know, the trouble is over, so let's just get back to it, would probably have been to, you know, like crack a joke, or, you know, make a lighthearted comment like, ugh, tough crowd it seems, or like, wow, what a bunch of knuckleheads, huh? Just something like that. To like give people just a little something to chuckle at, to try to, you know, bring the atmosphere back up a little bit. But anyway, as I said, it would be unlikely that they would know that. So, continuing on. I start reading and am struck once again by the beauty of the poem. The loneliness and isolation conveyed so accurately, I can relate to a lot of these feelings. I won't be as good as the others at reciting, but I can only hope that I'll be able to do the poem justice. Thoughts of doing both the poet and the club proud strengthen my spirit, and I manage to fight through the depressing mood. The quiet of the classroom suits the lines of the poem well, and my recital seems to fly by rather quickly. Excellent performance, Caesar! What a way to round off the event! As I step down from the stage, Monika stands up and addresses the room. Thank you all for coming and staying. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. That's it for the scheduled recitations, but you guys are free to stay and hang out if you want. There's an awkward silence for a few moments, then the remaining students start to stand up. Hey Monika, hey Monika. Oh, and you too, Caesar. I didn't know you were in this club. The girl standing before us is actually my homeroom class's representative, Shiori. Given that she and Monika are class reps, they're probably friends. Yeah, I only joined about a week ago, so... Ah, I see. Yep. Hey, by the way... sorry. Hey, the way you guys were treated was seriously awful. It's fine, thanks for staying. Either way, sorry about everything, Monika. I'll check out the club sometime. She gives us a small, commiseratory smile, and I'm torn between wondering whether everyone's pitying us or sympathizing with us. They all start to file out of the classroom after a few more goodbyes. Monika keeps a strained smile plastered on her face. Meanwhile, Yuri has her head buried in her arms on the desk. In contrast, Natsuki is staring straight ahead, gritting her teeth, and Sayori looks down at her desk, picking a spot on the varnished wood. To say there's tension in the air would be a massive understatement. So, you know, in terms of how good or how bad that event could have gone, like on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being it was as bad as it could possibly have gone, and 10 being it was as great as it could possibly have gone, that was maybe a 4, maybe a 3.5. And, you know, in real life, when I've had to manage events, I've had experiences where I've had 2s or even 1s. So, I can tell you, best thing to do is roll with the punches. You know, if you mope about it, then it's not going to help you at all. Just whatever bad things happened, learn from it, make adjustments next time, and see if you can make the next event a little bit better. But yeah, that was not good, but it was not the worst. I'll put it that way. There's silence in the room, made worse by the sense of awkwardness. No one knows what to say. No one expected the festival to end this way, and the impact is hitting us all. So, that could have gone better. My attempt at humor falls flat, and I immediately regret speaking. That could have gone better. Probably not the best thing to say. What you want to do is take the focus away from the troubles that are happening. Natsuki gives me a dirty look, but Sayori smiles wanly. Meanwhile, it looks like Monika's face has completely fallen. I don't understand. Where did we go so wrong, guys? Well, this is the first time that you've done this. You can't expect things to go right the first time that you're hosting an event like this. Just take notes. Like, take notes on where you did go wrong, and then the next time you do something like this, you'll know what to fix. We spent so long preparing for this, and after all our efforts... For the first time, that outgoing confidence Monika always seemed to radiate has snuffed out. She clearly cared a lot about this event, and I feel awful for her. I know, I don't get it either. I thought you guys all did such a good job as well. The decorations, the recitals. I'm sorry, Monika. Don't worry about it, Caesar. It's not like it's your fault anyway. She smiles weakly at me. Glancing around, I notice that Yuri and Natsuki seem particularly upset, with Yuri looking absolutely dejected and Natsuki steaming mad. This is your fault, Monika. I told you this was a stupid idea. Whoa, okay. So, as the leader, Monika's reaction to this should be, well, frankly, it should be to not react, because even more tension is not what the club needs right now. So, what Monika's goal should be, if people are starting to like get angry and upset, should be to calm everybody down. Even if Monika's not feeling particularly confident right now, like as the leader, that's what she should be doing. So hopefully she does that. Let's see. None of us were even that comfortable with doing it in the first place. Now look where it's landed us. Excuse me? My fault? You all agreed to this. Pardon me for thinking that it actually would go well. What's so wrong about that? So, yeah, Monika, bad move. This is not what a leader should be doing in this situation. We only agreed to do it because we felt like you were forcing us. Well, while that is true, but still, not a conversation you should be having right now. I was really hoping this wouldn't happen, given everyone's low moods. An argument is the last thing we need, yeah? Caesar's right. I didn't force anyone, Natsuki. You know how much this club means to me. I was just excited to show what we have to the rest of the school. Yeah, because that was such a good idea, wasn't it? I'm really starting to get sick of your constant sarcasm, you know. Why can't you just try being positive for once in your life? Okay, well now you're getting personal. Now we're going away from the actual event and what went wrong, and we're going into personal territory. So this is even a step lower than what we should be doing right now. Gee, it's funny how you should say that, because I'm really starting to get sick of your self-righteous know-it-all attitude. We told you this was a bad idea, but no, you just had to insist on this, even though no one was happy with it. That is kinda true. Again, not excusing the fact that Natsuki's talking about this right now, but that is kinda true. Monika kind of guilt-tripped everybody into doing this. Like, she put peer pressure on everyone. It was for a reason. Look at how much Caesar enjoys it here. Is it really so unreasonable to think that we could have found someone else like him? Or is that just too positive for even you to fathom? This is awful. The other students were bad enough, but now Monika and Natsuki are going for each other's throats. Look at how badly everyone was humiliated. How considerate all of those... She struggles for a moment, her anger inhibiting her ability to speak. Those assholes were, to all of us. They didn't give a damn about anything we had to say. What did that one prick say? He was only here for the food? All of that hard work, just for what? Nothing. Well, even if the event did go not so well, it wasn't for nothing. Like, people know about the Literature Club now. One way or another, word of the Literature Club is going to spread around. Like, even if people say, yeah, I checked out the Literature Club, like, even as a passerby statement, anybody who would be interested in literature would probably be like, oh, we have a Literature Club? I didn't know that. And then they might come check out the club. So even if the event didn't go entirely well, there will be some good things that come out of it. She angrily kicks one of the desks. The loud noise jolts Yuri, who looks up with tears in her eyes. Please, Natsuki, can you calm... Don't tell me you're taking her side, Yuri. You had to experience the worst of it. I don't get why you're not mad either. Natsuki, there's no point in being angry at Monika. She didn't want this to happen. She had no idea people would react this way. It's bad enough that the students were rude, and I really don't like fighting inside the club itself. Yeah, but if Monika just listened to us when we said we weren't comfortable with the whole idea, this would never have happened. Monika sighs. This is the kind of conflict she generally leaves for Sayori to deal with. But in this case, Sayori looks too distraught to intervene. Look, what you're not understanding is that sometimes you just have to take risks. Sure, this didn't go well, but there was always a chance it wouldn't have ended like this, and we could have had new members. She turns to me. I mean, you of all people can understand that best, right, Caesar? You made the choice to come here. Look how much you enjoy it. Oh, don't you try and suck up to him, Monika. Face it, you never listen to us, your club members, or take our opinions into account. Tell me I'm not alone in thinking that, Caesar. Oh great, now I have to choose a side. I really don't want to do this. I desperately look at Yuri and Sayori, but both look too upset to want to get involved. Oh, come on! I actually have to pick a side? I would not go either direction with this. Like, okay, if Monika is refusing to act as... act as a good leader in this scenario, then one popular quote is, in the absence of leadership, lead. That's a quote that I really like. So in this case, I would probably be the one who's trying to calm everybody down and say, listen, nobody is, we all have, a lot going through our heads right now. And we have a lot of thinking to do, but the worst thing that we can do is make it worse by badgering each other right now. What we need to do is calm down, clean up, assess what happened, not emotionally, but just think it through logically. What were the problems? Like, where did things start to fall apart? And then from there, you take notes and you make it better next time. But I actually have to pick a side here, huh? Okay, if I was to take a very immature stance on this and not try to calm everybody down, and I was furious and thinking too emotionally, then in this instance I would probably side with Natsuki, actually, because as I said, Monika did guilt trip everybody into this event, so that would probably be the side that I go with. I really do hate taking sides like this. Monika's the president, though, so I hope she won't take this personally. Monika, believe me when I say that I know this club means a lot to you. I've only been here for a few days and I can see that. In fact, it means a lot to all of us. Every one of us cares so much for the club that we were able to soldier on and keep performing despite all the crap we got. But at the same time, perhaps Natsuki has a point. You were clearly the most enthusiastic about this festival out of everyone here. She sighs, and it's clear she's frustrated. It wouldn't surprise me if she was disappointed in us either. Well, pardon me for wanting the club to do well. Why was everyone so against it? I didn't even force any of you. You all agreed for your own, of your own accords. Well, you guilt-tripped them into agreeing. I thought you'd use the weekend to practice. That should have been plenty of time. The way you pushed us into it, it felt like we didn't have a choice. Yeah, that's the point I was making. You guys didn't have to agree. Do you not know how to stand up for yourselves? I mean, do you know how to not bully people, Monika? Again, if we're taking the fact that this is not what we should be talking about out of the equation, then fine. Let's have the conversation about this. You kind of bullied them into doing it, Monika. Monika, you know how it is. It's hard enough as it is having to go against your friends, but when your friend has such high expectations for everything on top of that, it's just easy to get swept up in trying to keep everyone happy. And on top of that, not everyone here is as outspoken as you. Exactly. But that's not the point anyhow. You all did fine in your first recitations during our club meeting. Everything should have gone well. Well, I mean, saying it in front of people and saying it by yourselves is different. It's just that we never could have expected that people would act this way. If the event had been a success, you can bet that this conversation wouldn't be happening right now. Well, if we never decided to do anything for the festival, then we wouldn't have had to worry about this crap anyway. But we had to do something for the festival. Do you want the club to remain stagnant forever? Is this place just supposed to be some hangout for 5 people? There's a fierce glint in those green eyes now, and I'm almost afraid of speaking up. It seems like I'm the only one here who actually wants this club to do well, the only one who strives for greater heights. And how is anyone ever going to see how amazing what we've built is if we never show it to anyone? Kind of an awkward sentence to read there. What's wrong with the club being small? I'd rather have a few people who really care than a ton of idiots who are only here because of your popularity. Well, I would agree with Natsuki there. Not about the, popularity thing, but I do think it's better to have a small, passionate group than it is to have a big, apathetic group. Many coaches say they would rather have a group of people who are bad but are passionate than a group of people who are talented but don't care. Because if everybody is passionate about what's going on, then that's a good thing. Quality over quantity. And I think that's true. Some people may disagree, but I do think that that's true. I think that small but passionate is better than large but apathetic. Quality is more important than quantity, after all. I'm sure the others would agree on that front as well. Yep. Suddenly, Monika turns to face me. I won't lie, it's scary having to see the full force of the normally cool-headed and diplomatic leader's temper. Caesar, with all due respect, you haven't even been here for a week. How would you, of all people, know what the other members want? Monika, Caesar only means well. Sayori looks like she's about to say more, but one withering look from Monika stops her in her tracks. And I'm sure that many villains throughout history only meant well, too. Now you're just that was Natsuki. Now you're just being unfair. No. You know what's really unfair? What's unfair is the fact that I'm the only one who always has to pick up the slack. Monika, you are being such a bad leader right now. I'm sorry, but you really are. I'm the one who has to take on the blame for all the mistakes. You think it's easy having to live up to everyone's expectations? Monika, you're the leader. You're supposed to take ownership. That's what you're supposed to do. If things go wrong, you're the one that's supposed to take responsibility. As the leader, you take full responsibility for what happens in the club. That's what you do as a leader. Although I guess it's too much for you to understand, Natsuki. After all, you always heap the blame onto others and criticize everyone but yourself. Why don't you go do some introspection for once in your life? Then you might be able to see why you barely have any friends. God, Monika. There's a silence for a moment, a silence that lengthens into impossibly long minutes. I look towards Yuri and Sayori for help, but both look understandably shocked by Monika's words. Natsuki's face has grown red, and it looks like she's starting to tear up despite her best attempts at keeping a hostile look. Monika, on the other hand, has turned away so that I can't see her face. Yuri, Sayori, and I exchange a series of looks and expressions as the silence stretches out. Excuse me. There's a veritable game of eyebrow charades going on between the three of us. None of us know what to say or how to break the silence, but we all know that someone has to. I'm relieved that I have the two of them to rely on here. They had to experience the disaster that the festival was too, and yet they're still fighting through their own emotions to try to keep the club together. The only sounds right now are the small sniffling noises coming from Natsuki. The longer the silence stretches, the harder it's going to be to break it. Well, actually, no. Sometimes you just need to take a moment to calm down a little bit. So this is actually a good thing that everybody's just taking a moment to let the flames cool down. Somehow, the three of us managed to soundlessly decide that it should be me to speak up. But before I can do so, we're surprised by Monika finally interrupting the silence with a sigh. Well, first of all, Caesar has picked a side here, so no, he should not be the one to speak up. It should be either Yuri or Sayori. Probably Sayori, because Yuri is the more shy one. Sayori, who has not taken a side, should be the one to speak up. And now she should be the one taking on the leadership role. She's a vice president, so she's a leader. She should be the one trying to, you know, on neutral ground and for the benefit of the entire club, just try to talk everybody down from the ledges here. I shouldn't have said that. I was looking back on what I said, and well, if someone had said those things about me, I'd be upset to say the least. The pressure just finally broke me, I guess. I really do have tons of things going on in my life, but that doesn't excuse my actions. I shouldn't assume things about your lives when I have no idea what struggles you're going through either. I don't expect you to forgive me anytime soon, but just know that I'm sorry. Okay, well, Monika, you know, when you make a mistake and you let your emotions get to you as a leader, it's good that you're apologizing, but you don't want to turn it into a big shebang, because you sort of risk it coming across as you're, like, digging for pity, and just making everybody believe that you're still too emotional, and that you're letting your mistakes drive your emotions and drive you into this, you know, sense of, like, self-doubt and self-hatred, self-pity. So, it's good that you're apologizing for your mistake, but again, you shouldn't let your emotions overtake you as a leader, even when you have to make an apology. Monika still turned away, but Sayori shoots me a hopeful look. I think it's safe to say that words were said that no one really intended. Tensions were obviously running high after the disaster that the festival turned out to be, and I guess everything just boiled over in the argument. I agree, and it just goes to show how much we all care about the club and each other. If we didn't care, we wouldn't be feeling so horrible. Monika, you're really good at organizing these kinds of things, so I can really see why you wanted it to succeed the way you did. It's only normal. But you have to remember that we all choose to come here for a reason, and that's because we enjoy it here. We really do care. I'm sorry if it seems like we're blaming you for everything going wrong, but it's because it's definitely no one's fault. Monika starts to slowly turn back to face us, but you have to admit that you were kind of harsh to Natsuki. She stops moving, causing Sayori to speed through her speech. Anyway, I'm so glad that you apologized to Natsuki in the end, because we're all friends here, and we need to stick together. We shouldn't be fighting when we hit obstacles, we should be supporting each other. So I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive her, Natsuki, even though she said some really mean things to you. And hopefully we can move on from this and become closer than ever. I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, I believe the best thing we can do right now is try to forgive each other and learn from this experience. Monika faces us now, looking each of us in the eye. Natsuki misses her gaze, still looking down at the ground with tear-streaked cheeks. You guys, thank you all for being the best club members I could wish for. I don't think realistically that would be what Monika would have to say. Now that I've thought about it, it really is me who's in the wrong here. I should have just accepted that you guys weren't quite as into the festival idea as I was. It was wrong of me to push you into something you weren't comfortable with. Well, that's all said and done now, so no use crying over spilled milk, right? No, a good president wouldn't have pressured their people into doing this. Looking back, how could I have been so selfish and blind? Monika! You do not want to go down the prolonged self-scolding route. That's also not a good thing to do as a leader. Everybody has momentary lapses of judgment, and you shouldn't blame yourself for that. I'm with Yuri on that. After all, you made this lovely club for all of us, and we really owe it to you for that. And Natsuki, I'm truly sorry for what I said. I was just jumping to conclusions and making false assumptions. Plus, we're all your friends. Although I wouldn't blame you if you don't want to call me a friend anymore. Monika, stop saying stuff like that! Just worst things that you could be saying right now. We all await with bated breath for Natsuki's answer. I exchange nervous glances with Yuri and Sayori, the latter of the two looking like she's holding her breath. Natsuki quickly wipes the tears off her face with her sleeve. She looks smaller than ever and so alone. It makes me want to protect her more than ever. Whatever, it's fine. The only thing I ask, she looks down at the floor, then to her right, then at the ceiling. It's as if she's hoping for the right words to appear in front of her. The only thing I want is for us to stop fighting. I come to this club to get away from all that junk, and I don't want things to be ruined. So yeah, if it'll make things go back to normal, I'll forgive you. Sayori gets a little hop in excitement when Natsuki says that, and I can't help but sigh in relief as well. Monika smiles gently at Natsuki, who finally meets her eye. Thank you for putting the club above your sorry, I thought that was Natsuki talking. Thank you for putting the club above your own feelings, Natsuki. Yeah, I don't think I'm wrong in saying that we all appreciate it. You guys should hug it out. I get that it must have taken a lot to say that, so I'm truly grateful for that. Monika reaches out to hug Natsuki, but the smaller girl flinches away. I'm sorry, I should have known that it'd be too soon. No, well, it's fine. Natsuki makes an attempt at smiling at Monika. It may take some time for reconciliation to be finished, but I'm happy that everyone is trying their best. Yeah, reconsideration takes a long time. No, that's not quite right. Well, close enough. And with that, the spell holding us all in place seems to have been broken. Any of you staying to check out the rest of the festival? No, I'm feeling quite exhausted after all the emotional stress we just had to endure. Me too. All I want to do right now is take a long nap. Same here, honestly. We still have to clean up the classroom, though. We all grimly turn to face the mess that the visitors have left behind. I'm really not looking forward to cleaning that up. Do we have to? Sayori, you don't want to betray our club advisor's trust now, do you? Why are you always right, Yuri? Everyone chuckles a bit, even with Natsuki betraying a smile on her face. I'm sure that it's less work than it looks, so I think it's fine if some of us leave early. Hey Caesar, how about you walk Natsuki home for a change? I'm sure that Sayori's sick of your company by now. It's sweet of Monika to let Natsuki off the hook like that, and in such a casual way, too. This way it doesn't look like she's babying her or anything. Why are you asking Caesar specifically to walk her home, though? I guess it doesn't make too much of a difference, but I don't know. It's just different. Hey, no fair. I want to go home, too. Sayori pretends to pout for a bit, but quickly regains a smile on her face. If Monika didn't go down the, prolonged self-pitying, how could I have been so blind route, then what she should have done, after making, a short but sincere apology, would have been to tell the other club members, hey, we got a big mess in here, guys. We're all exhausted, so if you guys don't want to stick around and help clean up, I totally get it. I can handle the cleanup. I would appreciate if you guys help, but don't feel like you have to. You can go enjoy the festival, go home, do whatever. I'll take care of this. We just went through something rough, so y'all do what y'all want to do. Come on, guys. The faster we get to work, the faster we'll get to go home. After exchanging goodbyes, I'll walk out of the classroom with Natsuki. It's surreal to hear the sounds of chatter and laughter flowing towards us from the rest of the festival after everything that just took place. A silence falls between us. I'm not quite sure whether I should try to cheer her up or just leave her alone with my thoughts. I spot a vending machine at the end of the hall and decide on the former. Here, do you want a little snack? Little sugar always cheers me up when I feel down. Sure, I guess. What do you want? It doesn't really matter, but chocolate's pretty good. I approach the vending machine, digging change out of my pockets. Within a few moments, a solid thunk sounds from the bottom of the machine. I hand her the bar of chocolate. I just picked one of my favorites, so I hope we have similar tastes. White chocolate. Not bad. Does that mean she likes it? I watch as she carefully places the snack into her bag. You're not gonna eat it? My question seems to startle Natsuki, and I feel a little bad when she jumps a bit. I guess she's just feeling a little shaky. No, I kind of like to savor things in my own time. Not a bad idea. I tend to blow through snacks and stuff myself. I guess I like to try to make things last as long as possible. It's pretty understandable. With that, another silence falls over us, but this time it's a comfortable silence. Alright, well, on that cadence there, we have been going for over an hour, and I went over an hour because of the days that I neglected to upload an episode, so this would be about 2 or 3 episodes worth to make it up for you guys. On that light cadence, we're going to go ahead and save, and we're going to call this an episode, so wow. Now we're getting into new territory for the mod. I'm pretty excited to see where the mod is going to go next, but it was actually kind of a standard interpretation of the festival day, like a bad festival day. But still, it was done pretty well, I think. But anyway, hope that you guys enjoy this slightly over an hour long episode of Blue Skies, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, I'm Cesar Madrazo, and I am out.